they will carry into Super League?
I don't know. It's a difficult one, isn't it?
Because they've got money to spend, haven't they? That they can replace players if needs be. But it'd feel harsh, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, his stats are amazing, aren't they? But yeah, it's whether he can keep it on any longer, against Super League opposition. And obviously he's not got the chance to test that at the moment. I guess maybe it'd depend on who went down and whether he wanted to stay out in Canada or come back to England.
Well, they spend half the time in Manchester anyway, don't they?
Yes,
the Wolfpack. He did okay in the World Cup, I thought, for Ireland. So that was generally against a slightly higher calibre of opposition. Certainly than he would have been playing last year in League One. So yeah, that's an interesting one to see. But we wish him a speedy recovery so that he can stake his claim for a place in the Wolfpack side come the start of next season if they do reach the promised land. Okay, from the qualifiers into the Championship Shield, what's been going on down there, Sarah?
Yeah, Rochdale coach Alan Kilshaw will leave the Hornets at the end of the campaign. Kilshaw joined the Hornets from Serena Crocodiles ahead of the 2016 season. He will remain in charge for the rest of the Championship Shield campaign. The club and Kilshaw have mutually agreed to part ways at the end of the season, with Rochdale's relegation to League One being all but confirmed.
Yeah, I don't know where he's going. I don't know. There's been no sort of confirmation on that. But obviously he got them promoted, didn't he, against the odds, against that Toulouse side.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any hot takes on the Serena Crocodiles and what role they played in his development.
No, I was interested in them though.
I couldn't tell you a thing about them. I didn't know they existed until you just read out the name, and I'd already copied and pasted their name from a website onto a Word document, and still had never heard of them. So yeah. So good luck to him there. The other news story from the Championship Shield, which you made sure I didn't miss because it nearly slipped the net today, is that former England forward Gareth Hock has left Championship club Featherstone as part of their major cost-cutting exercise. Hock, who's 34, played for England in the 2008 World Cup and has played in Super League for Wigan, Salford, Lee and Widnes. He joined Rovers this year on a 12-month contract, and it was extended to play next year as well, but with Featherstone failing to secure that top four finish that they probably expected to do earlier on in the campaign when they did renew, and a potential 55% reduction in their central funding distributions, they have had to restructure their squad, and Gareth Hock is one of the big names to be cut because of that.
Yeah. Again, he's a player that I can't actually believe is younger than me.
Is he? No.
Yeah. Well, if he's 34, he is, I'm afraid.
Yeah, he's a player. Do you know? He's a player that I have a lot of time for when you watch him play rugby league. As long as you're not invested too much in what he's going to do wrong, on either side of the divide, really. But I've enjoyed watching him play for Featherstone on occasions this year because he's just got fired up. But I'm guessing you didn't necessarily enjoy him in that cup game. He was one of the instigators, wasn't he, along with Jake the Snake in the famous Super Card game.
Poor Jake was the victim in it all.
Bollocks.
He was. He's an innocent young lad, is Jake.
An innocent young shit stirrer. Okay. Jake the Snake. Now, what t-shirts have I done? Jake the Snake t-shirts, yeah, will be available for any Hull fans who want to buy them. And finally, former Australia player John Hopewati, who is a real snake and more, has been banned from the sport for 10 years after being found guilty of very serious charges arising from incidents during a minor league match in July. The 44-year-old faced several charges, including using offensive language and acting with aggression after playing for Narrowena against Forestville. He was penalised for a high tackle, then sent off for throwing a punch. Hopewati was then accused of threatening his opponents using bad language. The former NRL player told the New South Wales Rugby League disciplinary review panel he reacted after being racially abused by an opposition player. Half of his ban will be suspended, which means Hopewati can return to the sport on the 21st of July 2023 when he will be 49. This is not the first time Hopewadi, who has won 2 caps for the Kangaroos, has been punished for misdemeanours. He was banned 12 matches for poking opponents' backsides whilst at West Tigers in 2001. I think that's something everyone's familiar with him being famous for. And he was banned 17 games for a dangerous high hit on Cronulla's Keith Galloway while playing for Manly Warringah in 2005. He was suspended for a total of 45 weeks during his NRL career. Hopewadi turned to boxing in 2005 after his Manly contract was terminated. He became Australian heavyweight champion in 2008 and fought former WBC champion Oliver McCall in 2009 for the International Boxing Association Intercontinental title. So maybe he might return to his boxing career at this stage. I'm not sure if he wants to at his age, but I hope that he wasn't racially abused. But there's ways and means of doing things, and he probably took it too far, especially when he's got a bad reputation to overcome, shall we say. Indeed, yeah.
And as we tell the kids constantly, it doesn't matter what the other person's done, you shouldn't have done the wrong thing either.
There you go, yeah. A lesson learnt for us all. Okay, that is the news from around the world of rugby league covered this week. So we will now move on to the Super 8's match reviews. Super 8's match reviews now, sponsored by Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. Find a wide range of toys, gifts, rugby league birthday cards and more at Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. Visit stores.ebay.co.uk/Rob's Toy Shop, and on any orders over £5 you can earn 5% cash back, and also 1% of your order value will go to the SLP coffers. You just have to put SLP discount at checkout. All those details will be on our blog as per usual, including the link to Rob's website and Rob's Toy Shop. And Rob's Toy Shop did confirm indeed that they are selling plenty of back to school products for you to stock up on over the next fortnight or so before all you parents get the sweet release of sending the kids back to school.
Of actually being able to listen to the SLP without children around.
Well, I wouldn't recommend regularly listening to it with children around.
No, exactly. That's what I mean. To actually be able to listen to it again. You need to go to Rob's Toy Shop because it's Joshua's birthday next week.
Oh, well. It's your birthday next week as well.
Yeah, he was due on my birthday.
But he came. Did he come a couple of days later then?
3 days late, yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. It's round 2 of the Super League Super 8s this week. Pretty poor average attendance, to be honest. 5,669. That's what happens when all the 4 best attended clubs are away from home. We start on Thursday night, where it was Wakefield hosting St Helens. Top of the table, St Helens managed to pull off a 36 points to 16 win. They were coasting 16-0 at half time as well. In front of 4,295, Liam Moore was the man who controlled this one. Do you want to give us the first fan review?
Yep, POB 1976, Paul says, both teams looked nervous in the first 25 minutes before Saints took control. Wakefield came out strong and competed well despite the sin binning, correct call, before Saints pulled away to take the win. Saints fans will be happy to be back winning.
Yeah, I think the sin binning was probably fair. It looked like direct head contact and suitably punished. Like, probably it could do with being a bit more. So that was on Craig Hubie. He took Kyle Amor round the head. Ben Barber got in touch, interestingly. He said, sorry, I missed the game. Thought it was tomorrow. # there in spirit. He certainly spent a lot of time after the game celebrating with the fans to make up for the fact that he doesn't thank the fans for coming out for a defeat, only for the victory. So he made up for that, at least.
Yeah. Wakey White says, bit gutting this one. Despite the score, Wakey controlled and matched Saints for large periods, but were unable to turn the pressure into points. This was down mainly to fantastic defence from Saints and some poor last tackle options from Wakey. Saints were a lot sharper with the ball. Grace, Lomax and Raby came up with some great players that we couldn't deal with. Season over, but mission accomplished by making the 8s.
Yeah, I think Wakey White's done a really good job of summing up what I remember from the game. The first half an hour-ish was pretty competitive, pretty even. Possibly Wakefield even having the slightly better of it, but they really couldn't find any way to break through that Saints defence on their own line. They were sort of bouncing off plenty of tackles and half looking like something was going to happen, but then they couldn't quite make that killer blow. And then Saints, conversely, when they did get their chances later on in that first half, particularly Tommy Makinson, a diving effort for his score, like classic Tommy Makinson, basically reaching around the corner post to put it in. That guy is so flexible in the way he dives that the corner post rule didn't really inhibit him too much. He probably still would have scored most of his tries spectacularly like he does without it. And Johnny Lomax, Wakey White picked on, was pretty good too, I thought. So it was 16-0 at half time because of that. And I did think that Wakefield were going to mount a bit of a comeback. They even scored during the time where they had a man down, and they actually scored by creating a great piece of space for Paulie to barge through. So it did look like that like it was possibly there. Bill Tupu scored a fantastic try from their point of view and showed just why he's in the reckoning. In fact, he had a great role in Carl Wood's try as well just after half time. Shows why he's definitely, him and Percival are the two dream team centres, and I can't imagine anyone will come around and upset that. Regan Grace scored a nice try for him late on. I think it was a typically Regan Grace performance. He looked so floaty and majestic running at times, but also looked completely out of position and not sure what to do with himself over times. The kid is still learning, but boy has he got talent in spades, and he showed that with his try right at the end of the game. That's pretty much it from me on that one. Tommy Makinson was my man of the match. Jack Ashworth had a really good role as well in the back end of the first half. I'm talking a lot because I know you didn't catch this one, Sarah, because you were busy meeting literary idols.
Yeah.
So yeah, have you caught anything? Did anything catch your eye from any highlights or from the match reviews you've read or anything like that? Or shall we move on to the stats?
I think moving on to the stats is probably the best thing to do.
Okay. Well, possibly unsurprising with the top 5 individuals for tackle busts being all on show in this game. But this game had the most tackle busts / missed tackles of any game so far this year, 126 of each. Not a shock too, then, that both sides were below 85% tackle success, which is bad. It was pretty even, though. Only 2 was the difference in total in terms of misses / busts. So Saints made 2 more busts than Wakey. So Wakey missed 2 more tackles than Saints. Wakefield actually made more meters, just about, small gap there, and had 5 fewer handling errors, so were able to keep better discipline with the ball. Saints, however, made 5 more breaks and helped themselves to 3 more tries. So Saints were more threatening when they got the opportunities, which kind of goes back to what the Wakey White said when he summed up the game excellently there. So, individually, for the winning Saints side, Johnny Lomax with a try, 11 tackle busts, 127 metres and 2 clean breaks. Morgan Knowles, 40 tackles, 10 of which were marker tackles. Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook, who started this one at loose forward and played, then shifted out to the back row, so played long minutes, and he backed that up with 6 tackle busts and 126 metres. Danny Richardson, 3 try assists from the young halfback, so when the forwards get going again, Danny Richardson shows that all isn't lost for him so far this season after a couple of significantly below his average performance in the last 2 weeks. 8 tackle busts as well for the young kid. For the losing Trin, Bill Tupu, 1 try, 1 try assist, 10 tackle busts, 172 metres, 2 clean breaks, just underlines everything good we say about him. James Batchelor, he continues to work hard, the young fella in the back row, 42 tackles. Tom Johnstone, because apparently now we emphasise the stone, because if we're television commentators, we've been criticised so much for pronouncing it wrong anyway, that now we overpronounce the stone rather than calling him Tom Johnston. Eddie consistently called him Tom Johnstone. Had 5 tackle busts and 127 metres, and Reece Lynn, 8 tackle busts and 123 metres. Do you think this shows that Saints are probably back in top gear, or do you think it's a case that Wakefield, like Wakey White said, their mission is accomplished, so anything now is a bonus really, and they're not going to push too hard? David Fafita says his season's over, so is that symptomatic, do you think, of where Wakefield are going to be at now?
I think it's an interesting one, isn't it? Like, is it that Wakefield have decided the season's over, or is it that, Saints have just come and blasted back